But, and I agree with everything you said. And I'm not dancing around this, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Will we find more than 3 kids to get in the program
I don't know.
in any?
That comes back to the
non-focused
point.
program?
Here comes the, we will never find out anything until y'all pull the trigger and say, hey, we're gonna offer, we're looking at, we're doing, and it's gonna take some extra work now. Welding, mechanic, and something else. And here's how much it's gonna cost. Board, here's what we'd like to see, one of these programs. And then you have a goal. I mean, then you have to figure out, okay, they funded this, they want us to do this, now you gotta figure out to motivate the kiddos to get in it, to give them a, and not all of them are gonna get in, I'm not, that's not.
Bobby, what's some of that stuff when we were in Groveton doing some of our new board member training that they said they offered there, and is it still in existence? And doing the trades, they had
Cosmetology.
Is all that stuff still going?
No, I'm not.
I think so.
Yes, it is.
Maybe we could just do some, maybe we
Auto
could just
care
do
and
some,
cosmetology is still going on there.
do a little research, maybe call over there.
And that's what I'm
Call
wanting
some
them
other
to do.
districts where they've got something like that, and say, how's it working, how do you make it work?
Building trades,
What's
building
the
a house
cost?
every other year. It takes 2 years to build it.
But we may not have the guy to do it.
Right.
And that's where the problem ran in last time. And then it goes back to love, Todd might not.
Teach these kids teach them some common sense, you know, stuff like that. Hey,
I don't think you can teach that.
I'll tell you that, Ronnie LaRue and Sherman Jones and Gene Glover taught me a lot of common sense.
But
And I use it every day.
And I'll tell you one thing we have that aren't listed here, but we talk about as well, is soft goals. Goals that aren't necessarily, they're measurable, but they're not measurable. Like, we're gonna teach our kids to work hard. We're gonna teach our kids to be high character kids. We're gonna teach them, kinda like this. You know, that's something that was extra, that those kids said, hey, we see a need out there, and we're stepping up as citizens of Lovelady Elementary, and we wanna support this program. And they went out there and they did it. You know, I sent y'all pictures of the science class the other day, putting in sweat equity. I mean, they're out there working.
I love it.
Those are some of those soft goals we're talking about, working with our kids as well. As far as looking down the career avenue, we're still exploring those things, but we are limited. It's kind of like expanded on the fine arts deal. We have got to wait till either someone leaves or the program starts running down, and okay, what do we want to replace this with because of the category you have to have. It's kind of like some of those programs we cut out, when you've got 3 or 4 kids, are you getting the most bang for your dollar?
Oh, yeah, no, you get that.
Right.
But you gotta have, you know, you can't do anything if kids don't know you're heading that direction. Are you with me? That may not be, if you go like, hey, you won't be a welder? No, I won't be a welder. But you know, if the programs are, and I'm using welding, this is a bad example, whatever it is, hairdressing or whatever. And then other kids start talking about, hey, that's fun. You know, and they get in there and then you start growing that program. But it has to start from here, you know, and,
Why not pick 5 or 6 things and poll the kids, the top 2 or 3 or whatever, you know?
Well, you're still talking about the majority of our kids are still college oriented. And driven towards college. What was it, 76% of our kids, I think, whenever you did that percentile you were looking at, left here and went to a college.
how many complete?
That's something we're looking at.
Yeah.
That's something we're working on.
From last year graduating class, enrolled in college or reported to the military.
And that's something we're looking at as well. One of those things we're doing is we're gonna start exposure, and we talked about that, I think at the last meeting, at an earlier age, and what it actually means to go to college and be successful. And part of that's gonna be setting higher standards in the classroom as well. If you look at some of these goals in here about, where is it? Instructional technology, which is under goal one, working on branching that out, to the earlier and earlier levels. Ms. Harrelson is pushing really hard with Mr. Bowman and myself and Mr. Barker about trying to expand the technology program.
I can see in elementary that technology is the
Well,
lick.
And in the
But
second.
once you get up to high school, you're gonna have some diversion.
Mhm.
And that's where I think you need to capture.
here is the percentage of the college ready or wanting to go to college, is that trending up? I mean, do we have numbers from, 3-4 years ago, you know what I'm talking about?
I can talk to Ms. Gilchrist and say, I'm sure she's
Okay.
got numbers for as long as she's been.
I just don't know if that's just a trendy thing right now, the way we're going.
Well, go ahead.
No, that's.
Well, I'll tell you this with Ms. Gilchrist, and you've heard me sing her praises, and you as board members have sang her praises. She sits down with every one of those kids and says, what is your plan? And you gotta have something on paper, and I need to know. And she holds their feet to the fire about it. They say they wanna go to college, she says, I wanna see your applications. I wanna see that you filled out your FAFSA. I wanna see you taking the ACT or the SAT. And if y'all come up here on a Saturday, most of the time, you see her red Expedition parked out there because she's got the PSAT or ACT or ACT going. One of these weekends, and calls those kids and gets them up here.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, listen, and I'm just going from my experience. All three of my kids, 2 are finished college, the third was going. All three of them started one thing and they're doing something totally different. I mean, it's hard. They just don't know.
Well, and that's.
And so when you go in and say, are you gonna go to college? Yeah. And then they go over, one semester, 1 year, and they kick out, that's fine. I want them to go to college. I want everybody to go to college. But what happens to the ones that kick out and they don't finish college? They have no trade. They have no skills.
Well, but, and being the devil's advocate, like Mr. Cooper was saying, what happens if you take a kid as a freshman and he says, man, I want to get an auto mechanic, we start an auto mechanic class, they go through, they're, certified at a low level, working auto mechanics, they go, no, this is just really illegal, what do I don't want to do, I don't want to do this.
He can go to college and work on weekends and have a job paid for. But he has something to pay for.
See, on the same token, I went to college. I went 30 years, burnt out, I'm out of it. I work in the building business right now, and the stuff that I learned from the building business, I picked it up through those ag classes.
Yeah, no.
And I mean, I learned a wide variety of different things, and the stuff that I'm dealing with every day. I was exposed to everything.
That's exactly right.
She taught me how to get up and go to work every morning.
And I mean, you're talking about those ag mechanic classes out there. Guys, y'all have all been to the calf show, y'all have all been to one of their sales. I mean, they've got horticulture up there. They're building picnic tables, they're building deer blinds, they're building, and you're not just learning how to build a deer blind. I mean, you're learning how to square things up as well. And
I
how you
agree.
basically
I agree.
start
Everything
off
is
with
good.
those programs.
And if that's what this board we say, just leave it as is. My deal is, I think we need to expand it, and that's just my opinion. And I don't know what to expand. It may be hair college.
I
know what it is.
don't disagree with what you're saying. And I don't think anybody up here disagrees with what you're saying. I don't think anybody on the board disagrees with it.
That'd probably be a good idea to call like Groveton and some of those other schools and see how their programs are going. Is it worthwhile? Hey, we've had like success, the kids when they kick out.
If you talk to 2 or 3 of them, they say, man, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's really new.
Then we can buy that.
And we can look and see if there's other small schools.
Absolutely.
That are doing
The only one I know is Groveton, but I mean.
Yeah, they're sure all over. I was in a
In
car.
Crockett, they had a building trade class, and Millage Vest was a teacher. And we built concession stand, we built the press box, the baseball field, we learned how to pour concrete, we learned how to tie rebar.
Yeah.
And,
But, that's back when Crockett was a pretty big 3A.
yeah.
We're a little 1A, will we have enough kids to pay for the teacher?
That's right.
Everything, that's.
See, that
the big
comes
key.
back to it. You're gonna have to find out what Todd
What-
number
That's
good
where
at.
the research comes in.
I don't know what if they have a specialty that they can kind of guide them into. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we've come up against that with like homemaking.
Yeah,
I mean, we need another class for the kids to go into, but at the same time, most of them want ag, they don't really want.
Well, I'll tell you
You
what,
don't
those
get on that
homemaking,
homemaking. You've already heard me on that one.
those homemaking
Start.
classes are loaded
Yeah.
to the gills right now.
Well, that's a good thing too, so.
Well, we're
Hannah
getting
calls
Kate.
herself being a pretty good cook, says she learned it all here. I'm not gonna comment on that. She cooks over there. Kyle Campbell eats it, so. I didn't say much.
I'll eat anything, no.
But I mean, she said she learned a lot. You know,
is there any more questions specifically regarding the
Y'all are doing a good
goals?
job. I didn't ruffle it. I wasn't trying to.
No, no, no.
I'm just
And-
asking